Hello everybody. In this video, I am going to show you what the ZVE1 camera body looks like when paired with the Sony 28-70mm f2 lens. Someone left me a comment recently asking me about this specific lens and camera combination. As you can see here, LDZGN2872 says, "Great video, thanks. Kinda curious how the ZVE1 looks with this lens on." The lens referring to the Sony 28-70mm f2 G Master lens. "I'm thinking of getting the same combo. Can you make a YouTube short showing the setup, or maybe share a post about it?" So I'm making this video to show you specifically what the ZVE1 looks like with the 28-70mm f2 lens. So I actually made a video, and as you can see here, this is what it looks like for this specific camera and lens setup. As you can see, it is quite a big lens, but considering that it's a 28-70mm f2, a lot of people consider this pretty lightweight for what it is. But generally speaking, it is heavier than a lot of other like prime lenses that you would use or whatnot. Heavier than a lot of 24-70mm lens on the market too. However, I don't find this too hard to use. Let's play the video here. Now, me personally, I am used to heavy setups. I used to actually carry around multiple bodies and lenses at once. So by using this camera and this zoom lens, this allows me to just have one camera body and one lens with me during my events and my travels. And as you can see, I can comfortably handle it with one hand. Although usually I try to carry it with two hands. Well, carry it with two hands while shooting. So I would have one hand on the actual ZVE1 body and then the other hand on the lens. And that's how I would, shoot my videos. So one hand on the body, one hand on the lens, zooming in and out. I have my lens always on autofocus, so I don't really have my hand on the focus ring often. Sometimes I use the focus hold button, but other than that, mostly it's one hand on the ZVE1 body and the other hand on the zoom ring of the Sony 28-70mm f2. And then I have the camera strap here. I use a Peak Design camera strap. It's thicker, it's comfortable, it allows me to carry around the camera and lens with me all day. In fact, yesterday I was carrying it around at the event I was at, and it was very comfortable for me. Like I said, I'm used to very heavy setups. I used to use two Nikon D800 camera bodies and then one lens attached to each of them, so I'm used to carrying a heavy setup. This, in comparison to what I was using before in the past, it's not extremely heavy for me personally, but everyone has their different tastes, right? Perhaps this is super heavy to you or some other people. But for me personally, because I'm used to heavy setups already, this is not extremely heavy for me personally. And I'm able to carry it with one hand just fine, although I normally do have one hand on the camera body and one hand on the zoom ring of the lens. Now, if you're wondering if it can balance on a gimbal, I actually do have a gimbal that I use it on. I use the DJI RS4 Mini. So as you can see here, I have it on the DJI RS4 Mini gimbal, and it is able to work just fine. It balances on the gimbal, and I'm able to pick it up and move it around, and it works fine with the gimbal, as you can see here, right? So it can balance on the RS4 Mini, and I have no problem carrying it with me on my body, especially with the Peak Design camera strap. It's more comfortable than the default strap that it comes with. I recommend, if you have a heavy setup, invest in a good camera strap so that you can carry it crossbody, which is more comfortable than carrying it around your neck all day. But yeah, this is, personally, I find it not too heavy for me personally. It's really easy to use. It bounces on a gimbal just fine. And yeah, so this lens and camera body combination handles quite well, in my opinion. It's not overly heavy. So I hope that answers your question. And I hope that, you got a lot of better understanding of how this lens and camera body combination looks like physically and how it handles. Anyways, that's my personal opinion and how I, judge it based on my own personal experience. But, everyone's different, so perhaps you might have a different experience of how heavy it is or how big it is, whatever. But I just wanted to make this video to answer your question and give my own personal experience based on this lens and camera body combination. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.